Unsure of Tegana's intentions, Ian decides to try to talk his way around the situation. After confirming his allegiance to Noghai, he claims that with TARDIS his master will rule the world. Ian insists that only the Doctor can operate the ship, proving this by being unable to shut the music off, which is still being played from inside. Ling Tao, a courier for the Khan, appears out of the bushes. Koigi sees his chance to get out of there, but is killed. His monkey, finally free of his incompetent partner, makes a break for it and heads for a new career as a model for cymbal-playing toys across the globe.
I remember both of you, with Messer Marco Polo's caravan.
Ling Tao appears to forget Marco's name, a strategy he often uses with those difficult to understand and pronounce Venetian names. Tegana quickly takes advantage of the situation and accuses Ian and Ping Cho of trying to steal the Khan's property. Ping Cho quickly counter-accuses Tegana. Ling Tao, unable to unravel such a Gordian knot of accusations and counter-accusations, tells them it's a matter for the Khan to figure out. At the palace in Peking, the Doctor is thrashing the Khan at backgammon. As the Doctor is reeling off the Khan's huge gambling debts,
35 elephants with ceremonial bridles, trappings, brocades and pavilions, 4,000 white stallions and 25 tigers.
That's not too bad so far.
And the sacred tooth of Buddha, which Polo brought home from India.
Oh, that. Oh, what else? What more?
Well, I'm very much afraid all the commerce from Burma.
a trumpet sounds, signalling not only the arrival of the Empress, but also some sitcom shenanigans as the Khan hurriedly tries to hide the board from her prying eyes.
Oh, the Empress! Hide it! Winning, my love?
One wins, one loses, my dear.
The great crown is far too modest, milady.
You're not wagering, are you? You know how it affects your gout.
How charming. Charming indeed.
After she leaves, the mildly scolded Khan wishes his temperament was more like that of his grandfather Genghis. The Doctor says he has heard of him, but never met him, his brief holiday in San Dimas being just after Genghis had returned home after some sort of excellent adventure. The Khan insists on continuing to play, because as far as he's concerned the fun hasn't stopped, so why should he? The Doctor takes advantage of the Khan's addictive personality and suggests they play for TARDIS. Just as the Khan agrees, Marco enters and interrupts them. An impatient Khan, the gambling monkey on his back, desperate to continue the game, takes in the news of Tegana's imminent arrival. The monkey is briefly supplanted by a mischievous imp, as the Khan tells a clearly hurt Marco that they are playing for the Doctor's ship. Outside on a balcony, Susan and Barbara are enjoying the view. Marco sulks out to them and tells them of the Khan and the Doctor's gambling. Susan instantly goes into smug, confident mode, while Barbara takes a less irritating and more humane diplomatic approach. Susan's smug smile is wiped off her face by news that Ping Chow's wrinkly old husband-to-be is in Peking, so the wedding will soon be upon them. Ling Tao arrives and brings news that Ian and Ping Chow are being held under guard for trying to steal TARDIS. Susan tries to rally by expressing her confidence in her grandfather's skills with his nips. Marco takes great pleasure in deflating her by reminding her you don't collect your prize until after you've won. And just to reinforce his point, the Doctor chooses this moment to appear and tell them he's lost the game. He chuckles to himself, impressed by the Khan's hustling skills if nothing else, and shows them a consolation prize of what appears to be a money-off voucher for a sporting goods shop, a treasured heirloom from the Khan's grandfather. Later that day, the newly arrived Ian and Ping Chow are being interrogated by Marco. They both corroborate each other's story, but as Ling Tao didn't hear Tegana say anything treacherous, he's still loath to believe them. After all, one's a girl and the other's foreign. In happier news, Ping Chow will be spared going on trial as her husband-to-be has pulled some strings to have her excused. Just look at the happiness exuding from that face. Even more later on, Tegana and the TARDIS are in the throne room waiting for the Khan's arrival. As soon as he does, Tegana launches into throwing all of those pasty-faced Europeans under the cart, claiming Marco's withholding of information regarding the multiple failed attempts of the travellers to regain the ship as some sort of foreigner conspiracy. What the Khan should bear in mind is, anyone who says this sort of thing
does not one's loyalty first lie with one's own kind?
Usually starts to fall over themselves, adding more and more caveats. Because at heart, they are utterly selfish pricks, but are too cowardly to admit it. Marco enters the throne room and is immediately challenged by the Khan. Much to Tegana's chagrin, Polo admits to keeping the attempted theft a secret. He also admits wrongdoing in claiming it as a way of potentially buying his own freedom. But it seems Tegana needn't be too worried, as an annoyed Khan tells Marco he has won TARDIS off the Doctor anyway, rendering the whole thing moot. Just before Tegana starts to get too visibly smug, the Khan informs him that he'll be keeping his eye on him as well. That evening, Marco, Ling Tao and Ping Chow enter the throne room and see everyone weeping, although there has been bad news.
Your beloved husband-to-be, so anxious to be worthy of your love, drank a potion of quicksilver and sulphur, the elixir of life and eternal youth, and expired on the...
On being informed of her husband-to-be's untimely death, Ping Chow remains stoic, much to the annoyance of the Empress who, having heard about the grief-sharing habits of the Swedish Haga community, really wanted to have a go. Reading the situation well, she's clearly been taking notes on Barbara. Ping Chow quickly wins back the Khan's approval by taking him up on his offer of staying with him. Before dismissing her, the Khan asks Ping Chow her opinion of the travellers. She gives them a 5-star review, and satisfied, the Khan orders Ling Tao to mail escort her away. She doesn't protest. While the Khan trusts Ping Chow, he's still sceptical about Marco's loyalties. He decides that after his audience with Tegana, he wants Marco to bring him the Doctor and the key to TARDIS. Outside the throne room, Marco and Tegana throw a few barbs at each other as they pass in the corridor. In another room of the palace, the Doctor, Ian, Barbara and Susan are working out what Tegana's plan might be. They eventually deduce their way to the revelation that he intends to assassinate the Khan. The chaos this will cause will give Nalkai and his waiting army, now strategically placed at Karakoram, the opportunity to secure a victory. Ian is unceremoniously volunteered by Susan to be the one to go and try to warn the Khan. They call the guard. Luckily, Haru Goshi is on guard today, so the Doctor is easily able to trip him up and overpower him, allowing them all to escape. After running down several corridors, the travellers run into Marco. They try to warn him about Tegana, but Marco orders them to be locked up again. As we're in the last few moments of episode 7 of this adventure, Ling Tao serendipitously arrives at this exact moment to inform Marco that Nalkai's army is marching on Peking. Marco hands a parchment to the Doctor and heads off to the throne room to protect the Khan. In the throne room, Tegana and Kublai Khan are indulging in some light innuendo.
Your terms of peace are hard, my lord.
Tegana, those who rise against us must be humbled.
Tegana takes things too far by drawing his actual sword and attempting to penetrate the Khan. Kublai's vizier takes the brunt of the thrust instead. Marco enters the room, his own gleaming weapon in his hand. The two men did a big fight. Marco wins, and the Khan orders his guards, who have shuffled in during the excitement and tried to look like they had always, most definitely always, been there honest, to pick Tegana up off the floor. The Khan orders Tegana dead, deciding that if you want something doing right, you should do it yourself. He grabs a spear off a guard and runs himself through. As Tegana's body is taken away, Marco offers the Doctor TARDIS key in exchange for the parchment, featuring his fan art of the Khan he handed over earlier. The travellers race to the ship, Susan once again stopping to say farewell to Ping Cho. Soon as they are all on board, TARDIS dematerialises. Marco apologises to the Khan, but he takes the news in good humour, as his grandfather used to say, "Excellent!